All right, take three. Turk 4. Turk 4. Turk 4. Turk. Hello, my name is Oscar Fire. And today we are going to talk about a video that I have kind of like had in the back burner in my head for like the past year. And now is not finally the time to really talk about it. Really, that was like 6 months ago. But it's definitely something that I think is just something I kind of want to get off my chest at this point. The funny thing is that I'm going to have B-roll footage rolling in the background here of I literally reinstalled Overwatch and played 3 games, one on each roll, just for a little B-roll footage. And all 3 games were absolutely terrible, improved everything I've been feeling about the game, I feel like. Like, it was terrible, because the first game is King's Row, and it's a Rhyme duel, but our team goes Bastion, the enemy team goes Bastion. It's all terrible. It's all terrible. It's not fun. I'm miserable the whole time. And then the second game, just trying to play a little Ashe, and it turns into a Bastion v Bastion again, and it's just terrible again. And then the third game, I'm not forced to go Brig. Well, I kind of low-key got forced to go Brig. But I go Brig, and I'm not even playing Brig that well, because I'm very tired right now. I'm very tired tonight. I've just worked 5 days in a row, and I'm not playing my best, okay? And my best isn't that great anyway. But it doesn't change the fact that all 3 games weren't very fun. And it doesn't help that I was tired, and it doesn't help that the game seems to always require you to be playing like a top 500 player for you to have fun. And it's driving me insane, and that's why I'm talking about it. That's why I'm recording this video, starting this video. It's because Overwatch just isn't very fun anymore. And it hasn't been for a very long time. Because you may recall that back when I was, more regularly uploading, not regularly uploading, but more regularly uploading, I was definitely showcasing some fun games, and I definitely praised Overwatch 2 pretty effusively, except for its Battle Pass. So its Battle Pass and its monetization was really bad. But outside of that, I thought that Overwatch 2 was fun when it first released, over a year and a half ago. I very much enjoyed it. I enjoyed the betas, and I enjoyed all that stuff. And then the game slowly started kind of declining, I guess is the best way to put it. The game started to be less and less fun. The balance started to be less enjoyable. The game, it was not any single thing either. It wasn't like, one thing was absolutely, obviously terrible, and it made the game unenjoyable. It was a lot of little things. One thing here, one thing there. And a lot of it had to do with balancing, but it had to do a little bit with everything, honestly. Monetization being too pricey. It had to do with the balancing being too wonky and unpredictable. It had everything to do with them constantly allowing characters like, say, Roadhog or Orisa to become meta, or characters like Sojourn or Kiriko to be permanently meta, essentially. Not that that affects me as much, but it certainly is something. It's all these little things. And most recently, before I go to the most recently, let me go back to a year ago when it was announced that basically the PvE was canceled. Like the big PvE, the big expansive PvE was canceled. And a year ago, I was talking to my buddy Brian, and my buddy's Brian, and actually I was talking about Brian and Skitzer. You've seen them in other videos on this channel. You've seen them on the Overwatch videos. You've seen them in the Lethal Company videos. And we were talking about it, and I predicted, basically, and I don't have any recording of this. If I scrolled up far enough in our conversations in Discord, I would find it, but I can't be arsed to do that. But I recall predicting about a year ago that the cancellation of PvE it's a death knell for Overwatch. And I said that what was going to happen, and I think it was generally agreed upon, that what's going to happen is the game is going to kind of amble along kind of genially for like next 6 to 12 months, for next year or so. And then it's going to start dropping off. It's going to start dropping off really hard. Because what's going to happen is that basically it's going to be like a slow trickle. And then, kind of like all at once, everyone's going to realize, wow, this game actually really sucks. This game isn't as fun as I remember it to be. This game isn't fun like I was told it would be. And they're all going to start complaining about the game. They're going to start being unhappy about the game. And they're going to start leaving the game. And lo and behold, it is June 3rd, 2024. And guess what? The game really, really feels like it's dropping off. I don't get the sense that people, and I'm not just, I'm talking about like across the board. I don't get the sense that the content creators for the game, the streamers and the YouTubers and so forth, are enjoying the game like they used to. I don't get the sense that the people that I'm in lobbies with enjoy the game much at all. I most certainly do not enjoy the game at all, and I barely play it. As it is, I actually had uninstalled the game because I finally just got frustrated with this season after I finished the Battle Pass and everything. And I uninstalled it because I just don't care to play it. But then I reinstalled it today to play 3 games for some B-roll. And lo and behold, all 3 games suck for different reasons. And, you're going to look in the background and you're going to go, well, you obviously made a mistake here and you made a mistake there. And it's like, yes, I did make mistakes here and there. I'm quite tired and I'm not playing at my absolute best. And even if I was, again, playing at my absolute best, it wouldn't matter because I'm not a top 500 player. The real question is, why is the game expecting me to be a top 500 player to enjoy the game? But leaving all that aside, the game now is kind of dropping off. And one of the most interesting controversies of recent days, not controversies, but one of the most interesting discussions that's kind of turning into an internal fight in the Overwatch community, is the 5v5 versus 6v6 discussion. And a lot of content creators who are trying to defend 5v5 have gotten rather vehement about it. And it's very confusing to me, because A, it's just a video game, and like dragging like political comparisons into it is very confusing and weird and bizarre. But even if you leave that aside, I'm not really sure why we can't have a reasonable discussion about these sorts of things. And all of this is to say, basically, that it feels like Overwatch is dying. It's been, like I said, it's been a bit over a year and a half now since Overwatch 2 originally launched. I guess the year and a half mark would have been in April. Actually, even March, I guess. Actually, I think about it. No, April. More April, strictly speaking. Anyway, I'm overthinking that. And it feels like the game, that it's gone from Game of the Year to one of the biggest misses of gaming history. And it's sad and depressing. It's very sad and depressing, because you have to bear in mind that I am not a natural shooter player. I don't play shooter games all that much. The last time I actually played any shooter game extensively was like the 70 or so hours I put into Battlefield Bad Company 2. And 70 hours doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, that was a ton. That was a ton of time to put into a multiplayer FPS game. And when Overwatch came out, well, let's be honest, for most of Overwatch's life, I was a terrible player. I'm not a natural FPS player. I don't think that fast. I don't have very fast reaction speeds. They're faster than they used to be, and I think Overwatch is actually partially to credit for that. But I'm never going to be some great player at any sort of shooter game. And the simple fact of the matter is, I wouldn't say I necessarily fell in love with Overwatch, but I definitely loved Overwatch. Because I say fall in love in the sense of it being, much more emotional. Like there's a much stronger emotion to Overwatch, to it. And it wasn't that strong, but I still loved it. I still loved the characters. I loved the setting. I loved the stories and the cinematics and all that world building and stuff. And that's really what kind of kept me hooked into the game. Is the basically the nebulous future promise that this is all going to get expanded in in a great way. And then of course it all got canceled. And the game itself stopped being fun, and I stopped being inspired to try and be better at the game, to learn how to play tank, because tank is no longer fun. And I just don't know anymore when it comes to Overwatch. I was talking to Brian again earlier this evening, and I ultimately ended up saying that it's like I kind of hope the game dies just so I can stop really caring as much. And the sad part is I don't care as much as I used to. I already don't care as much, but I kind of want to stop caring full on. I kind of want to stop having hope that that the dev team will actually start listening to people and try to actually fix the game and actually try to bring, like 6v6 back. And, even if they don't like fully commit to it, at least test it out and see like, but is it at least, and to see like, well, is 6v6 at least more fun than 5v5? I have yet to, even on part of the servers, I have yet to try the 6v6 workshop mode. Just because I'm always so tired and I just don't want to take the time to go into the pubs, but I really should. I really should see if the spark comes alive again, if I go into one of these 6v6, pickup groups. Just to see. But one thing I do know for certain is that 5v5 isn't fun. And I remember how even during the doldrums, during that year and a half or so when the game wasn't getting any updates whatsoever, I remember still having fun during that. I had less and less fun as time went on because, well, you could only go for so long in the same kind of tedious repetition before it kind of gets boring. But I still had fun playing the game. I still had fun hopping on the game with friends, and you can see all those videos. I still had fun playing the game and hopping on with friends and going in a comp occasionally, and then for the most part just playing quick play. One of my favorite videos is still my favorite Overwatch videos period is still the Miracle on Anubis, where we had a lever on the Temple of Anubis and I had to solo tank it, and we somehow managed to pull it off 5v6. We somehow managed to win that game, and to this day, I still do not know how the enemy team managed to throw that game, because they shouldn't have won. They shouldn't have won because I ended up having to play Wrecking Ball for 2 rounds, and I'm not a very good Wrecking Ball, and even now, look at me. I'm reminiscing about Overwatch 1, and meanwhile, every time I talk about Overwatch 2, it's about how I ended up suffering for like 5 out of 6 matches, and I only had fun in one of them. And it kills me that there are so many people out there who want to defend 5v5, but it's like, but are you having fun? Are you having fun playing the video game? Is the video game demonstrably better? And I don't want to hear this queue time nonsense. I want to hear, is the game demonstrably more fun than when it was 6v6? And I guarantee you, every single content creator, every single rando out there who tries to tell you that 5v5 is better is lying their ass off. I guarantee you they're lying their ass off. Because it's just not true. Maybe for the new Overwatch 2 players who never experienced, the original Overwatch format, maybe they, either won't have an opinion or will have, a half-formed opinion. But I guarantee you, everyone who experienced 6v6 and compares it against 5v5 in their head knows 6v6 was more fun. Are just ignoring that ignoring that. And I find that sad. I really do. Because, it's not like I think that 6v6 was perfect. No one thinks that 6v6 was perfect. Obviously, there were bad metas, goats, double shield, anything involving Roadhog. Obviously, there were bad metas. Obviously, there were times when 6v6 wasn't fun. But in the sum total of it all, and heck, you don't even have to take have to take the whole 5 years of 6v6. You can just take any, year and a half slice and compare it against the year and a half that Overwatch 2 has been live. And are you really going to sit there and tell me that 5v5 has been more fun, that you haven't been complaining more about the game, that you haven't had more issues with the balance in the game, that you haven't been able to play your favorite characters nearly as much in the game? Talk about the B-roll. I was playing Reinhardt, one of my best tanks and easily one of the characters I have the most fun on. I was completely miserable on King's Row on Reinhardt. Since when has that ever happened? Unless it was in Overwatch 1, unless I was getting steamrolled, which definitely happened, I always had fun playing Reinhardt on King's Row. I always had fun trying to figure out how to not be a complete idiot playing Reinhardt on King's Row. Or take playing, say, D.Va, the character I have on this display behind me. I love playing D.Va, but half the time you just can't because you get hard counter-swapped, and next thing you know, you can't play the characters you're good at or have fun with. And that sucks ass. It's terrible. The worst part is that I literally just realized I played on King's Row today. A map that I see maybe once a week when I play Overwatch, which is ridiculous. But I'll see Suravasa in New Junk City like 40 times every week. And it's like, why can't I ever play on the fun maps? Why do I never get to play on the hybrid or the escort maps? I always have to play the stupid new mode that's awful, or the other stupid new mode where only one of the maps, Esperanza, is actually fun. At this point, I'd rather play on Volskaya Industries, because at least I occasionally had good games on that map. And that is 100%, and that is 100% a rose tinted glasses kind of way to look at it, by the way. And I'll even readily admit that one. I don't like Assault as a game mode, but Push isn't much better, and Flashpoint. In my personal experience, Flashpoint is terrible. Flashpoint is easily the worst mode I think I've ever played in Overwatch. And maybe it's better in comp where there aren't people leaving constantly. But even then, I find that it's too steamrolly. I think that it's there's no back and forth in it. You're always getting steamrolled. And if you really manage to kind of swing it back, like in the Brig game I played this evening for this video, it's like, the enemy team didn't have fun. And that's the thing that also gets me, is how often it's like, when my team is winning, I know the enemy team didn't have fun, precisely because when my team loses, I know my team didn't have fun. There's so few games where you lose in Overwatch 2 where you legitimately had fun or are satisfied or feel like, hey, I put in my best effort and we still lost, but at least we tried. You don't get the consolation of that. It's always, oh, you just got stomped because the enemy team probably has a Masters player on it, or the enemy team just happened to play the right combination of heroes that everyone's really good at. Like I had a game, the game right before I uninstalled the game 4 days ago was a game where the enemy was playing Sombra Widowmaker, and it's like, one of our supports is complaining, DPS, are you there? And it's like, well, I'm getting shot in the face, or I'm getting outflanked, or we're getting outflanked, and one of you is getting killed by the fucking Sombra, so I don't know what you expect me to do. I can't do anything about one or the other. I want to kill the Sombra, but I'm getting shot in the face, or I want to kill the Widow. Well, I can't really kill the Widow, because I wasn't playing Widow. Because I wasn't going to play Widow into a Sombra that's just going to constantly destroy me. And it's just... But, this game is more fun. That's the argument you hear all the time. People trying to tell you that Overwatch 2 is more fun than Overwatch 1. Which is already and the name's already bollocks. And it's like, it hurts my brain. Because it's disingenuous and it's not true. I get tired eventually when people try to say, well, that's just your personal opinion. I don't care what you think my personal opinion is. It's an objective fact that the game was more fun. Because people had more fun. People chatted more and people laughed more. Where do you see the laughter in people playing Overwatch now, where they aren't just kind of screwing around and not caring whatsoever about the game, or taking the game seriously, or trying to play their best, or what have you? I don't see it. But I suppose that's the nature of the video, isn't it? Things change. And in this case, Overwatch changed. And it changed for the worst. Worst. I said that correctly. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I know this was more of an unhinged rant than any sort of actual proper opinion piece. I don't do proper opinion pieces. I don't do scripts. When I read scripts, I just come across as a robot. And I'm not going to do that. So if it's just my unfiltered, sort of uncoordinated thoughts, so be it. Another one of these is coming down the pike. Good luck. Until next time, everybody.